Hello, this is Angelo, and we are here because in less than an hour, nothing happens. In less than an hour, because Thrive in 2025 is over. Yesterday was the last day, day 3. It was amazing. And of course, we are here for the review of day 3 and to prime ourselves for our best life ever after Thrive in 2025. This is our goal for today. So it is a much bigger goal than priming ourselves for just another event day. So that said, before I begin, I want to remind you that we are at our beach house in the south of Greece. The internet is a bit tricky, but it worked out fine in the previous days, so there's no reason why it shouldn't happen today as well. And of course, I'm going to need all your positive vibes and energy to make sure that this happens today as well. So, as I said in the past few days, act as if we are on a first date. Act as if, no matter what is going on around you, you're fully focused on what we are discussing here, because you know what? We've been reviewing Thrive in 2025, like quite a lot, right? And today we want to make sure that all, like all the strobe lights and all the attention is on the one person in your life that matters to you the most when it has to do with your growth. And that is you. So let's review not just what happened yesterday, but what will be going on in your inner world from now on, so that you can turn your vision into a reality, so that you can see your super self in the mirror, as I like to say, so that you can see your super life and your super business before your very eyes. Now, I want to begin with a little story. And that happened about 15 years ago, I think, something like that. It was definitely around that moment, because I remember it was at the beginning of my personal development journey. It was the time when I was reading one book after the other. It was really exciting. And of course, I was waiting for each and every moment to apply what I was learning. So what happened? Me and Alexandra, we were alone at my parents' house. So I know that my mother, like stocks up everything. She's like an incredible cook and makes sure she has, like all the ingredients and so on. So my parents went away, and I decided to cook pasta for Alexandra, like one of my amazing recipes. And of course, I started with the sauce, and I was, like I was in, like in flow. I was making everything perfect. And by the time I was getting done, I thought, what next? Time to, like boil the pasta. I was looking everywhere, no pasta to be found. And I thought, we are missing like the most important ingredient. If you want to have pasta, you need to have pasta, right? So I said, like I felt that, like all the Tony Robbinses and Jim Rohns and everything were, like waking up within me. So I said, I'm going out and I will come back with pasta. Only to know that it was about 10:30 at night. So this was a challenge, right? So I was driving around. I stopped in the first kiosk. In Greece, we have, like these kiosks that are, like every few kilometers or miles. And I stopped to the kiosk. They have like almost everything. And I asked them, do you by any chance have pasta? And they said, no, my man. I mean, I have cigarettes. I have, like Coca-Cola. I have ice creams. No pasta. All right. So what to do next? I was driving around, and then I thought, I have an idea. I know who has pasta, an Italian place. So I was driving around for like 20 to 30 minutes looking for pasta. And finally I got the inspiration, and I go to the Italian place, and I go to the kitchen directly. I walk into the kitchen, and I said, I take like a €2 coin with me, and I said, could I possibly, like buy, like one pack of your pasta? And they were startled, of course. Who are you? I am, like 10 minutes from here. I live like 10 minutes from here. I have created this amazing sauce for my girlfriend and I don't have pasta. So they gave me the pasta away. So like as a winner, I drove back home, made the pasta. It was incredible. We had a great night. And of course, the moral of the story was that the input that I got from my mentors was converted not into action, but into results through action. So the point is not to act now. It is actually to act until you turn your vision into a reality, and then you know you're growing in the right direction. Boy, do I wish I knew this sooner in my life. So let's do a quick review from yesterday's day 3. Listen, Nichols, I will give you like an even briefer like phrase from what her grandmother taught her. Quitters quit and winners win. That's about it, basically. And of course, she didn't say it once. She said that many times over while swimming to do this record, right? You know the story now. And not only that, she did it with intensity, because it is your emotional state that matters the most, not what you're saying. Some people ask me, like many people ask me actually, are affirmations effective? And I say it matters how, like your state matters when you do your affirmations. This is all it takes. So why did I keep that from Lisa Nichols's story and speech? It is because I want to remind each and every one of you that it is always a good idea to remember that your mind is so powerful that it can block your easiest goal and it can pave the way to your biggest dreams. Your mind is so powerful. Your mind is so powerful that it can make you, like forget your name. Forget, like we have like a VAT number here in Greece. It's your security number in the US, maybe. This is how powerful your mind is. And you say, I mean, I've used that number like millions of times. There's no way I don't remember. It was the moment that your mind blocked for some reason, right? We will see about that in a few minutes' time. Now I want to move to Gary Brecka. And he said, if you want to shrink your problems, grow your purpose. So I always remember I was at the T. Harv Eker seminar, and Harv said like something amazingly simple, that problems are finite. They don't change. We change. So if we think we have a big problem, it's because we're looking at it this way. We feel ourselves small against the problem. The problem will not change. The only thing we can do is grow above it, right? So the moment you say, you know what, I pick this new purpose, like a big, bright purpose, then your problems tend to look small. Many times I advise clients when they have, like a 100K goal or a $1 million goal, to go for another zero, not necessarily to achieve it, but to condition themselves at a goal that is 10 times bigger and be okay with it. So that then the 1 million would look, like piece of cake, basically, in your mind. Okay, so that said, I want to tell you about what Gary Brecka said about constructive interference, because I am an engineer myself and I loved physics. So yes, what he said is right. And yes, this is basically an explanation that the law of attraction is valid. There's nothing, like to be considered like woo-hoo there. But what Gary Brecka didn't say yesterday is even more important, because as constructive interference is a fact, so does destructive interference. And I will tell you what that means. So basically, what constructive interference means is that if we have two waves that go along together, then the amplitude of the wave will double. Now, what is destructive interference? If we have two waves that go against each other, then each wave cancels the other one out and you have a flat line. Why is this important to you and your future? And I'm really hoping now you're paying attention, because if you don't pay attention, you pay with regret later. Pay attention. Regardless if you watched Thrive in 2025 1 second or the whole thing, regardless if you invest in MBS or not, pay attention. Why is that important to you? Because if your heart is in alignment with your mind and your heart says, oh, I want that amazing thing, and your mind says, great, let's do this, you're in alignment, the amplitude of your wave, of your impact doubles, and you're in the right direction. If your heart says, I want this amazing thing, and your mind says, there's no way you can do this, then they cancel each other out. And you say, why can't I have what I want? What is wrong with? Nothing wrong with you. There's not alignment, and your mind basically is going against, this is how powerful it is, your heart, your dreams. So, that said, it is time to go to Tony Robbins' keeper, and that has to do with what he said, like big results come from big decisions. And I completely agree. But you know what? I thought yesterday, while this is like great advice, not everyone wants to be, like a billionaire and have 1 million people following them on social media and having to, give 100 autographs before they can, eat in their favorite restaurant. Maybe you want something not necessarily to be considered smaller, but let's say different. And this is why, if you follow me, for years now, you know how important it is for me to define what I call my super life properly. Super life does not mean that I make $1 million an hour. Super life means this is exactly what I want. It is authentic. It is not borrowed from Instagram. This is exactly what I want, and I'm going about it. And I am happy in the process of making it a reality, right? Good. So back to Tony Robbins' quote. He said, big results come from big decisions, right? I want to point out which is, from my perspective, the biggest decision of all. It is not even to decide to go about your dreams. That is not a big decision. Many people decide to go about many dreams. The biggest decision of all, from my perspective, is to get up when you get down. This is a decision. So even if you failed like 753 times, get up for another time and do it again. So the key word I have for you for today that locks in the energy of day 3 is perseverance. It could be persistence if you prefer it, but I prefer the word perseverance because perseverance, from my perspective, and of course I am Greek, right? So, but still, from my perspective, and there isn't like a nice Greek word for perseverance, by the way, but I don't want to digress on it. I just want to point out that perseverance includes the fact that there will be challenge along the way. I am not, oblivious to the challenges of life. I am expecting them, and I know that I can win just by saying one more time, let's, brush myself off and do it again. Do it better this time. So I want to give you now day one. I thought, like we want to lock in the energy from all the event. It would be a great idea, I believe, to make sure that our subconscious gets it. And of course, the subconscious cannot hold, like big concepts, and like you cannot memorize a whole book, but you can memorize a phrase. So I will give you Thrive in 2025 in 25 words or less for each day. Basically a punchline, basically a couple of small sentences. So day one, it is time to turn your story, your skills, and even your scars into impact, income, and even immortality. And what do I mean by immortality? Of course, I mean that everything that we create in this digital world becomes our legacy. Some, like 100 years ago or 200 years ago, you would have to be, like an important author or something like that for your documents to stay alive. Now, each of us has the opportunity to create some kind of impact, even, like centuries after we are gone. So each and every time we create something, it is, like another potential, another chance of becoming valuable hundreds of years after we're gone. So maybe, this is why I also mentioned our scars. Maybe you've had, like a big failure and you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to share it. It's so painful. You know what? So it will be for someone else. And you have the opportunity and the freedom, and potentially, if you see it this way, the responsibility to share it and inspire others and help them become easier and faster their best version of themselves. Now, day two, when you lead with authenticity, when you're in alignment, your heart and your mind are in alignment, you believe in yourself, you believe in your message. When you lead with authenticity, you sell without resistance, and your results compound. And your keyword from day two is action. So you have to do that. If you keep this in your mind, it doesn't change anything. As I said yesterday, it's either win-win for all of us or lose-lose. And you know what? Always remember, it's one of my favorite, like concepts, one of my favorite perspectives. Many people think, like this is too out there. I don't mind. I might lose, like some followers from saying that, but I see myself always as one of the 8 billion cells of the body called humanity. This is how I see myself. And now that I know it and I see it this way, I tell myself, Angelo, how can you be your best self today? What can you think, say, do today to be your best self? Because it is not only about you. We either all win or we either all lose. And by the way, when your emotional state changes, you're not an island. I mean, a mother would understand that their child, they're more receptive and they will see what I'm saying, right? They would know if their child, it's if they're happy or if they're fearful or stressed or anything. They know. We don't have to prove these things because they are all happening. We are all part of this bigger pool, so we better become our best version of ourselves. And day three, your super life, I'm not sure if you're going to like it. I'm not sure if you're going to feel comfortable with what I'm about to say, but it is a fact. It is a painful fact for most people. Your super life is not granted. It is earned. And this is why I said today's keyword is perseverance. your super life, your super business, pinching yourself when you look what you have created is not granted. Like Angelo, okay, there you go. There is $1 million for you. There is, like 1 million followers for you. You can say anything you want. When I got started with my personal development journey, I will tell you another story now. I was in a meeting with my team, and I told them, we were discussing about the presentation that I was going to make. And I told them, I wish I was tonight in the Olympic Stadium in Athens, which is about where the Olympic Games were held. It has a capacity of like 65,000 people, right? And I said, I wish I was there tonight for like 2 hours at most, and like packed and inspire people with what I want to share. I believe that by the end of my presentation, out of the 65,000 people, maybe my mother and maybe another, like 2-3 other people would still be there. This is how naive I was with what? With the distance. Like that the mind, my mindset, my skill set, and my tool set would have to cover to turn my heart set into a reality. Always remember, so this is the message for today. Your super life and your super business and what you call your vision is never granted. It is earned. And as Tony Robbins says, very few people are considered to be, like from the lucky sperm club. It is what you put out there that turns your vision into a reality. So now I want us to play a little game. Are you up for it? I don't know. So I have a question. Basically, it's kind of an offer I want to make. And my question to you is, would you give me, I don't have dollars, I have euros. Would you give me 50 euros for this brilliant Angelo note? I can post it, I can send it to you. If I become famous, like in about 10 years' time, this could be worth, like many millions. What do you say about that offer? I hear many no's, I think. So let's make you another offer then. Would you give me 50 beautiful euros if I give you two 50 euro notes, 100 euros? How about that offer? Sounds better, right? So there's no guarantee in life. But I thought of the best way to be of value to you, to articulate it in a way that is, ethically okay, legally okay, and everything, and still help you become a better version of yourself. So what I have to offer for you, and this is my Sunday bonus once you decide to join MBS, is that I will coach you, and yes, there are some asterisks, I will talk to you about them. I will coach you until you reach $5,000 in revenue with your new online course. Why $5,000? Because let's say that your profit is about 40%, that's $2,000 in profit, and that means that you have doubled your investment with MBS because you don't need anything else to get going and get started and launch. So that said, I am going to help you to double your money. So here come the asterisks now. Number one, provided that you want it. Number two, provided that you follow up. And someone might ask now, this is a valid question. So Angelo, are you telling me that if it takes me, like 5 years to make $5,000, will you coach me for 5 years? The answer is, provided that I am alive, capable, and so on, like all these things that you can understand make sense, yes, I will. But I have another question for you now. Are you willing to wait for 5 years to make $5,000 with your online product? And now you know that while my bonus sounds impressive, what we both want is to make this a reality, like by the end of June, maybe. Or maybe this is a stretch. Okay, by the end of August. But that's about it, right? But yes, I will coach you. And yes, number one, this is it is a group and chat coaching program, meaning that you have access not only to the discussions that we will be having together and all the extra training that I will be giving you and guidance and the Q&A sessions. This is not only that, but you will also have access to my mobile phone 24/7. And no, I will not be answering 24/7. But as I tell all my coaching clients, when you send me a message, consider that this message, it is my time in Greece, like 2 a.m. And of course, most probably I am sleeping at that time. You want to send that message right then and there, simply because with that message, you send a message to yourself that I'm not negotiating my vision. I am not allowed, if I don't feel happy and unstoppable, I have to immediately contact Angelo, tell Angelo what is going on, why I believe I am not at peak state and I am not getting the results I want. And then I will give you the answer, and then you will have to take another bold step and answer back if you're not completely satisfied, and if my first initial answer. So we will be going back and forth because we are on the same team, on the 5K as soon as possible team, not the 5K sometime in the future team. How about that? Does that sound like a great plan? Like how to make one 50 euro note to convert it into 50 euro notes as soon as possible. So this is my offer for you for today. This is how I want us to make the end of Thrive in 2025 your best start yet, because I believe that you will be, it will be like your best dessert ever. Your super self will be so delicious that you will ask for more. Not for more coaching from Angelo. Maybe you have bigger plans. I don't know. Maybe you want to work with Tony Robbins. I have no idea. But I'm talking about how delicious your super self is. And from my experience, I know that all of us have, like, we are all challenged basically with three things. And before that, I want to tell you that these three things, while they are like the most important, almost everyone else is dealing with all the other things, like the 2 trillion other things. So how many ads, let me ask you, how many ads have you seen, noticed the past few days only about the next AI tool, like that you can make amazing videos, or the next thing, that. Okay, I can go for on, like the Facebook trick and this, that. So, as you remember, Tony Robbins says it is 80% mindset and 20% strategy. And somewhere around there in that 20% of strategy, it's like 0.02% Facebook ads or 0.03% video marketing. So why focus on the 0.03% if we want to crush it? We will focus first on mindset. And these three things that I was telling you about, number one, a clear and compelling vision. And number two, super beliefs. A super vision with super clarity and super why and super beliefs. And what about the third one? The third one is basically a cherry on top. You don't need it, but you need it the most. And that is super happy in the process. For two reasons. One, let me tell you from now. When you set a goal, there are two outcomes, two potential outcomes. You will either achieve it or not. That's about it. And when you will look back, you will want to be happier in the process. This is about it. But the second reason is the one that helps you achieve your goals. And that is, the happier you get, if you watched, like the emotional scale that I present in all of my webinars, all my coaching webinars, the happier you get, the more receptive you are. If you are on a victim state, no one can help you. Tony Robbins will give you his best insights and you will say, no, this cannot help me. No way this can help me. And it is like a brilliant insight from a brilliant, successful person. And you will dismiss it because you're not emotionally in a state to receive it. So this is my promise to you. If you want to take the next bold step, I don't believe it's such bold anyway, because you know what? You have the 30-day money back guarantee. So instead of trying to decide if MBS is for you, if the mastermind business system is for you, without knowing what it is, isn't it better if you see what it is and decide within those 30 days and also receive my coaching and see if I, can deliver? I think it's best. Great. So I want to leave you with one bonus punchline that groups everything together. Only what you do gets done. Everything else becomes regret. Only what you do gets done. Everything else becomes regret. I really look forward to working with you. If you have decided already, you can click the link that you will find in the chat or the description and join MBS right now. If not, you can go through the training materials that I gave you. You can go through all the training that I will be uploading in the next few hours, and the reviews and the replays in the support portal. And then also, you're more than welcome to send me any questions you have, reply to any of my emails, and send me all your questions and make the decision while you can, because this offer is about to expire. So if you have decided, join MBS right now. I would so much love to help you reach your 5K mark as soon as possible with my complimentary coaching Sunday bonus. Thank you so much for your attention and your participation, and I will see you pretty soon with another masterclass. Ciao, ciao.